the Baseline Hello World Battleship game, and they'll be walking us through it now. Over to you, Jack.
Yeah, I think Davin's actually going to kick us off here, but we can just do quick intros of the team. I'm Jack. I'm a student at Duke University. I did some of the implementation of the front end and back end for this.
Yeah, and I'll jump in there. I think in the interest of time, we're not going to have everybody come on and do intros, so I'll just run through the list real quick as well. I'm David Jones, head up product over here at Provide. Additionally, on the team, we had Ryan Fish, Stefan Kostic, and Manik John. And it's been a real pleasure working with these guys. It's really important that we give potential baseliners, or really anybody for that matter, something tangible and familiar and really simple that they can grab onto and apply this baseline process to. So that's where this idea of Battleship comes from. I think it fits the bill pretty well. It uses every aspect of the baseline process in the Hello World we've put together. And I think that's a quick enough intro. In the interest of time, Jack, I'll go ahead and turn it back over to you, man.
Thank you. All right. So here we have, are you able to see that, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So essentially our idea was, in order to kind of demonstrate this idea of baselining between two parties, we'll use this game Battleship simulated between two players to kind of represent this overall process. And so here we have two different clients pulled up, each kind of connected to their own implementation and then communicating over a Kafka messaging provider. And so let's say here first, Alice wants to begin baselining with another player. So we're going to go over here and create this organization named Alice, and she's going to create a work group. In this case, we're just using simple IDs, so you can easily copy and paste it over here. But let's say Alice shares this code with Bob, and Bob goes over here on his other client somewhere else and signs in, creates this organization, and then he's going to go ahead and join that work group like so. And then that kind of kicks off the game here. And in the context of Baseline, the Battleship game is kind of acting as this sort of shared document. And so Alice and Bob are both going to go ahead and place their ships on the board somewhere. And it uses zero knowledge proofs, so that way Alice and Bob are sharing information about, hey, I'm putting my ship somewhere on the board. They're sharing essentially a hash of where their ship was placed on the board. And so that way the other player can verify Alice and Bob placed their ship, but they don't actually know the coordinates of the ship that was placed. And so that's kind of how zero knowledge has been integrated in here. And then we can go ahead and say, okay, Alice is going to start, and Alice is going to say, I think Bob has a ship on C1. And so we can see both Alice and Bob receive this information. Again, this is all being communicated over Kafka. And then on Bob's side, he gets this request from Alice saying, hey, I think your ship is in square C1. And if Bob goes ahead and says, well, my ship is there, but I'm going to claim that that's a miss, he goes ahead and presses that, and it says, okay, wait, proof verification failed. So it generates this zero knowledge proof saying, using the hash of his board position that we created at the start and communicated between Alice and Bob, and Alice's public input guess, and says, that's not true, that doesn't match up. So it gives Bob another chance to be truthful. So Bob can say, yep, that's a hit. And then on Alice's side, once again, she knows the hash of Bob's board, and she knows her targeting square, and Bob communicates that proof back to her, and she can go ahead and say, yep, verify. And then once that's verified, you get this little check here, and we can see down here, this is just currently running in a Ganache local CLI. One of the kind of last features we want to add in is a way to actually view these transactions getting added to the Shield contract. For right now, you can just see something is happening here, and you just kind of have to trust us that it's the Shield contract. But lastly, let's say now it's Bob's turn. Bob says, I think Alice has a ship at B4. Alice says, nope, that's a miss. And then once again, Bob can go over here and verify that. And then once that's verified, you can see again that record of this kind of interaction is being added into the Merkle tree in the shield contract. So that's just kind of a quick demonstration of what we've come up with. Just from a tech perspective, it's built kind of using a React Node.js client server, where Alice in this situation is connected to her own Node.js instance of the server. Bob is connected to another instance, and they're communicating over that Kafka messaging bus, like I mentioned earlier. We used Kafka just because we were wanting to try something other than Nats, just to kind of show that Baseline is kind of protocol independent in a lot of cases, where you can substitute in different parts of the overall protocol and use things like Nats or Kafka for kind of your specific use case implementation. And then, like I said, we've been using Ganache just to keep it local and simple and fast. But you could easily convert this to run on something like Robston or another testnet. And then lastly, all the zero knowledge proofs we did using synchronize, mostly just because it was very easy to run the verification of that through the client and the node service. So yeah, that's kind of it from us. If anyone has any questions, happy to take some of those.
I must be getting weepy in my old age because I'm in tears watching this. It's so freaking awesome. It just makes me so happy. And not only the work and this, I mean, this, it just opens it up for me. I mean, and I think a lot of people, this is actually an interesting use case of where you'd use zero knowledge just between two counterparties. And I know you guys are already thinking about, where you make this where you're proving the shared state to a third party, where that's where baselining gets really interesting, right? I've got to prove to the auditor without having them open up all my books, right? Some truth. I think you guys were talking about, proving to a tournament the game's winning state without having to show the whole game to that tournament, which is interesting thought. I just think it's so good. Sonal, thanks for giving me not cutting me off here. I don't want to take up time, but I'm moved by this work, and also by both you guys and Blip6, how you worked live on Zoom together with the videos that we're definitely going to publish. I think those alone are huge assets. I love the way you guys pair programmed, and I don't know, all together, you guys really made an impact and should be proud of the work.